If you've watched any of my latest videos, you'll know that I got a new job a couple of months ago. So I've just started working, having not worked for over a year due to a redundancy. And over the past year, my family basically went from a 2-income household to a 1-income household. And we've been able to survive, and not even survive, but been able to thrive financially over the last year. And in this video, I'm going to share exactly how we've been able to do that. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, thanks for stopping by. And if you're a returning subscriber, hey, welcome back to another video. It's good to see you here again today. So in today's video, guys, what I really want to do is talk about the things that my husband and I have done over the last year in order for us to survive on a single income. So in today's video, what I really want to do is dive into a lot more detail about how we've been able to do that, the things that we did and the steps that we took in order to safeguard our finances over the last 12 months and prevent ourselves from going back into debt. I did another video a few months ago about how to budget on an irregular income, which I think you may also find interesting and useful. I'll link it up here and in the description box below so that you can check it out after this video. But in that video, I basically talk about the things that we do in order to manage our income, which is very much irregular and varied on a month-to-month basis. But in today's video, what I really want to do is dive into how we were able to manage our finances as a single income household, as a family of 5 over the last year, in the hope that if you're watching this video and you've gone from a 2-income household similar to what we did, hopefully some of the things that we did will help you on your journey. So if that is content that is of interest to you, then you're going to want to stick around for this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet done so. And without further ado, I'm going to jump into those things for you now. I think the first thing that saved us and helped us to survive while we were down to 1 income was the fact that we had paid off all our debt. So we had paid off all our debt like a year before the pandemic hit, and I must say it was the grace of God that my redundancy came a year after we had become debt free, because if I had actually been made redundant when we were in the heart of our debt, then this video will probably be a very different video and I'll have something very different to say. But thankfully we had paid off our debt before I was made redundant, so we were able to navigate our finances accordingly. But one thing that I would say on this topic that we did that was really beneficial to us is the fact that we took action straight away. So when we discovered Dave Ramsey back in 2016, straight away we took action. We discovered these baby steps and we discovered what you could do to achieve a total money makeover, and we were sold on the idea and we went gun ho, focus, laser focus on paying off our debt, following the steps in which he outlined in that book. Total Money Makeover, actually, if you haven't heard of that book, I'll link it in the description box below so that you can check it out, because it is a fantastic resource for anybody wanting to pay down debt. I know Dave Ramsey can be quite controversial in the personal finance space. You love him, you hate him, but either way, I can only say that that book definitely transformed my finances and helped me so much on my debt-free journey. But what I would say about that is that reading a book is one thing, taking action is something else. And I think that's the thing that we did that was pivotal in transforming our financial situation. It's the fact that we actually took action. So we didn't just read the book and then, you know, go on with our day. We read the book and we implemented and applied what we had read in that book to our finances, and we were able to experience that total money makeover. So I think first things first, paying off debt is very important. But I appreciate not everybody has that luxury or that ability to do that before their financial situation suddenly changes. But what I would say is that if that is the case for you, it's to seek help. There are so many resources out there. Step Change is an amazing debt relief charity that can offer you advice and support on how to basically tackle debt when your finances are already in trouble and you don't think you'll be able to kind of handle it and make sense of it by yourself. But in terms of my own personal story and how we were able to survive over the last year, I would say becoming debt free before the pandemic hit was definitely a blessing for us and definitely helped us in terms of being able to set our finances in order for the year that was to come. One of the key things that really helped us over the last year was creating a realistic budget. Now, my husband's income is very much variable. He gets paid on a weekly basis, so you can imagine trying to manage a budget for a family of 5, 1 income that varies week to week. How are you going to make that work monthly to ensure that all the expenses are being met and you don't get yourself into any financial trouble? What we did is we basically created a budget based on his bare minimum income. So the lowest amount that he had earned a week in the previous year is what we took as the basis to create our budget. So we budgeted against that lowest figure. So that meant that any money that he earned above that basic, we were able to put towards our other financial goals, which is why when you watch any of my budget videos, I'll link the playlist up here if you you haven't seen any of them. But if you watch any of those budget videos, you'll see that we've been able to do other things financially beyond just paying our bills, such as overpaying our mortgage, investing, putting money towards our sinking funds, etc. We were only able to do things like this because we created a budget on our single income based on the bare minimum or the lowest amount that he could earn. So my advice to anybody watching this wanting to create a budget or get started, and you have a variable income or irregular income, I would say budget to the lowest possible income that you're expecting, and then that way anything above that you get is more of a bonus, as opposed to kind of budgeting on the average. If you can, definitely take the lowest amount and budget to that, because if you can make that budget work, then any extra money is just going to be like a nice bonus. Another thing that helped us survive the last 12 months was practicing delayed gratification. I think, to be honest, that was something that was a lot easier to do over the last 12 months, given the way the last year has gone because of the pandemic. Like, there were no motives, there was nothing going on, there wasn't really anywhere to go anywhere, so there was no reason to really spend money. So I didn't really feel like I was missing out. That FOMO feeling wasn't something that I really experienced over the last 12 months because we were all in the same boat, we were all stuck at home. So whilst other people were stuck at home, I was at home because I didn't have money to go anywhere anyway, but other people were probably stuck at home because, yeah, we were told we were on lockdown, we weren't allowed out. So I think just practicing delayed gratification and, you know, not saying yes to everything that you're invited to, being specific on the events that you go to, saying to yourself, okay, I'm going to say no to this event so that I can say yes to this event that I actually want to go to. Learning not to have everything you want when you want it is something that definitely helped us last year to navigate our finances and stop us from getting into any unnecessary debt. Another thing that really helped us over the last 12 months was having clear accountability and transparency when it came to our finances and our budgets. So what I did is I created a Google Sheets Excel spreadsheet. So before, we already had an Excel spreadsheet that we were using, but it was actually on Excel as opposed to on Google Sheets. So I had access to it, but my husband didn't really access it as much. He didn't really pay much attention to it. Whereas over the last 12 months, we've been using the Google Sheets one because you can add different users to it. So we can both literally use the same exact spreadsheet. Both of us can track our expenses on there together, see what each other are doing. And it just really helped us to have visibility of what was going on with the finances and where the money was coming and going on a day-to-day basis. And I think having those clear lines of accountability and just transparency with the numbers really did help us to navigate our finances over the last year. So we would have regular weekly budget meetings, like literally sit down, go through the numbers, plan the finances for the following week, and just having those conversations and setting those goals together and setting those priorities together really helped us to stay on course and navigate our finances for that month. So definitely, I think accountability and transparency are key, particularly if you're a partnership, if there's two of you that are working together towards these financial goals. I think it's really important to kind of have those clear lines of communications, even if it is the case that it's only one person that's bringing in the income. That income is for the whole family, for everybody to survive and eat, and it's important for everyone to kind of have an understanding, I think, of what is going on, because that way, if one person, you know, wants to go off and do a madness, or one person wants to go off and do something that may inhibit the rest of the plans, you can kind of bring that person back on track and vice versa. But if there's no accountability and there's no transparency, you don't really know what the other person is doing, and that's how things can end up in disarray. So I think definitely transparency is key, accountability is also key, and just, yeah, really getting on the same page and having open conversations about money. It will definitely help you to survive when you're in a single income household. Well, it definitely helped us anyway, because we just had a clearer understanding of what we were working on, and we were working together as a team towards a common goal. Another thing that really helped me survive financially over the last 12 months is just really accepting the season in which I was in. So I think to everything there is a season, and I think for us that season was a season of being in a single income household. So it was a season of really cutting back on our expenses, and a season of just really getting our heads down to work and just seeing what we can do to kind of keep ourselves afloat. And yes, it was a season, it wasn't the easiest of seasons, but I just had to appreciate, recognize and understand that this was gonna pass eventually. Like, we wasn't always gonna be on one income. I would eventually get another job and be able to contribute to the household, but for the time being, the season we're in is a single income, which means I can't just splash the cash whenever I want to, because it's not going to work. We only have one income that we're trying to manage to keep a family of 5 afloat. So it was just a case of really accepting where I was at that time and understanding that, yes, this is where I am now, but I'm not going to be here forever, and not watching what other people is doing, because I think a lot of times we can be distracted by what we're seeing on the timeline. We're seeing what people are doing on Instagram, or we're just seeing what people are doing around us, and we think that, oh, I'm missing out, or I should be doing this, I should be doing that, I should be here now, I should be there now. But your season may not have come yet, and it's just a case of really embracing where you are right now. And that's something that we kind of had to do over the past 12 months. It's just really accept that this is where we are now. Yes, we may see our peers buying new houses or buying new cars or traveling or whatever. To be fair, nobody was actually traveling over the last year, but just in general, you may see people upgrading around you, and you may be thinking, I want to upgrade too. But just recognize that it's not your season, it's not your time right now. But delay doesn't mean denial. It might not be happening now, but that doesn't mean it can't happen in your future. And I think it's just important to not lose sight of that fact. And that's something that definitely helped me to navigate the last 12 months, is just recognizing that this is the season and it will pass. For now, let me embrace and be content in the season of life in which I'm currently in. Another thing that I had to do over the last 12 months is get creative. Like, get creative with everything. Get creative with date nights, get creative with the kids' activities, get creative with my hair. Like, literally, I used to get creative with everything. I just had to find creative and frugal ways to make things happen. So it was just a case of really starting to think outside the box. Like, what can we do? What can I do that's not going to cost me money, but still going to allow me to have a nice experience with my family? And those are the kind of things I focused on over the last 12 months. So yes, creativity is something you're going to have to tap into. Pinterest and YouTube are fantastic resources for these kind of things. Another thing that I did over the last year, and I would say the last few years actually, since becoming debt free, is find ways to make extra money. Like, that's something that I focused on a lot, and my husband too, in all honesty. Yes, he had his full-time job, but on the side he would do things to make extra money. And likewise myself, there was a time that I was doing hair. You may remember, any of my old subscribers might remember when I used to talk about me doing people's hair. Hair is something I hate doing. It's something I can do. It's a skill that I had, and I knew that I could monetize it, but it's not something that I enjoy doing, in all honesty. But I would do it because it would put extra money in my pocket. These are the kind of things that I was doing just to make money on the side, to kind of supplement my husband's income and just to give us some extra money in the household. And I think that's something that's important to try and do. Like, see if there is some way you can monetize one of the skills that you currently have in your hands. So if one of you is working and the second person is at home, think of things you can do while you're in the house to make extra money on the side. So if you watch any of my online income reports, again, I'll link them up here in case you want to check any of them out. I talk about the things that I do to make extra additional income on the side. So some of them are passive, some of them are active. Another thing that really helped us to navigate the last 12 months on a single income household was prioritization. Like, literally getting clear on what our financial priorities were. What were the things that were important to us and what things were not so important. And the idea and the focus over the last year has been to prioritize the things that were important and deprioritize the things that were not so important. And I would say it's literally the last couple of months that it's really taken shape, and I think we finally cracked it and got a system in place and a plan of action when it comes to our personal finances, a way that we can kind of have a good balance in terms of paying off our bills, saving, investing, but then also enjoying our lives too. I think at the beginning, when I was initially made redundant, we were in panic mode and safety mode, and we were focusing on all our efforts on paying down the mortgage, saving to the detriment of ourselves. So we weren't prioritizing ourselves whatsoever in the equation. So there was no fun, there was no enjoyment, there was nothing. It was just like all the money was allocated to things but nothing to ourselves. And it was only like the last couple of months we really caught that revelation that actually you do need to enjoy the journey too. Yes, we were a single income household, but like, we still need to live our lives at the same time. So it was like trying to strike a balance that was more reasonable, and that's something we were able to finally work around. But yeah, that's literally it for this video. I just wanted to share with you guys some of the things that we did to help us survive this last year, being a single income household, having gone from being 2 incomes down to 1. But I hope you found some of these things useful. Let me know in the comment section below what things you've been able to do to survive on a single income, if that is your situation, or any advice you would give to anybody that is in that situation if that's not your current situation. But if you made it this far in the video and you haven't given it a thumbs up, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet done so. Tell a friend to tell a friend, and I will see you guys on my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.